Good morning, and welcome to yet another edition of Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy. I'm Dave Kelso. I'm very tired, and I'm going to make this as quick as I can. I don't want to dwell on this for too long. I want to be as expedient as possible. I have my video disabled so that the message, the point of the data, the concepts can be focused on, and that me as a human person bouncing around in my chair here is not being a distraction for you, because I'd really rather the points be focused on. This is going to be a somewhat disorganized rant again. As per usual, I don't exactly have a bullet list or anything. I also want to insert a trigger warning here, to be fair to everybody. The points that I'm about to bring up are in regards to some current events. Everything I'm about to say is my opinion. Even if I say something is a fact, that still qualifies as it's my opinion that I think it's a fact. So that disclaimer out the door there. And though I'm going to be as calm as possible, the information that I'm about to relay is, how can I phrase this? It's going to be a hammer hitting full force on some shit. So, yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to be swearing every other word or anything, but let's just say my sentiment is not going to be bunnies, kitties, and rainbows. Nor is it going to be pessimistic. This isn't like, oh, woe is me, the sky's falling and doom and gloom and it's all hopeless and we're all going to die. No, nothing like that. I'm just going to be speaking of some very harsh realities. As the title says, all it takes for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. And we're currently in a situation, as I'm sure many of you know if you've been paying attention to both mainstream and non-mainstream news. Basically, it seems that President Trump is not quite the savior. Everybody, well, not everybody, but shall we say conservatives, that conservatives were hoping for, and Trump seems to be pulling in Obama. Literally, like exact playbook. And it really doesn't surprise me. And I mean, this is something I've talked about for a very long time. And I often quote the nice, famous little 1 minute Bill Hicks short. If you were to do a YouTube search for keywords, Bill Hicks puppet on the right, of course, puppet on the left will bring it up too, or Bill Hicks politics in America. It basically goes like this. So I think the puppet on the right shares my beliefs. I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Hey, wait a minute. Here's one guy holding up both puppets. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. Although really, this sort of tomfuckery has been going on for way longer than even America. Way longer, than any country or empire. This is totally old hat. I mean, this is been forever and a day. And I hate to say this. I really do. I don't enjoy any aspects of this. And I'm not speaking in a moral context, but more like a physics context. I'm about to use words like fair and deserved. I'm not speaking of that from a moral context. Like it is a well-deserved and fair consequence that if you piss into a fan, there's blowback, right? I mean, no one's going to expect that if you would piss into a fan that there just magically wouldn't be blowback, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody can agree that if they were to piss into a fan, that they would expect blowback, and they wouldn't exactly be incredibly surprised when that blowback happened, and that it's a fair and deserved consequence, and that if we don't want blowback, we probably shouldn't be pissing into fans, right? Well, I'm going to be so bold as to say all of the tyranny that has been unleashed upon humanity from various tyrants and empires and so on, all the way up to modern day, going all the way as far back as anybody can go back, is in that physics context a fair and deserved consequence, because we have collectively been pissing into the fan. I mean, seriously, it's like, imagine a little midget and a football team, right? That little midget, narcissistic little prick, yellow hair, corncob motherfucker midget, can only give orders to the football team of the population of the United States of America, if that football team decides of its own free will to view that narcissistic little prick bastard midget as an authority, and to do that, like, you know, that's the free will choice of that football team, right? So any blowback consequence, again going back to physics, the pissing into the fan analogy, is fair and deserved, not from a moral context, but just from a physics context. And then, of course, oh man, I've said this before, and I love this response I get. But Dave, fair, deserved. What about the children? Well, if they piss into a fan, they're going to blow back too, ain't they? Because it's physics. It ain't nothing personal. And you know what? What about the children anyway? I mean, besides the fact that we were all children once, right? I think we can all agree on that. There's been child abuse and child rape and child murder and pedophilia and everything else, going all the way freaking back. Everything from Catholic priests and bishops to Hollywood government officials to, like, oh geez, this stuff goes back forever. This stuff has been ongoing. So what? People only give a shit once there's chemical weapons dropped and shit? Like, what the fuck? You know? I mean, let me put it to you this way. People seem to put all sorts of passion into things like whether or not their sports team wins, who does or doesn't stand at NFL games, Black Friday sales, America's Got Talent, America's Top Model, Pokemon Go. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You've got millions and millions of people putting all this attention and passion and focus, and not to mention all of the stupid, dumbass arguments online. Good Lord. The shape of the earth being one of the most irrelevant. Who cares if it's a fucking ice cream cone? Who really gives a shit? It's like, there are some people out there that would literally rather argue about the shape of the earth than to unite with each other to make this world a better place. And while you're arguing about the shape of the earth, it's also been no secret to you that politics, poly-ticks, let's hyphenate that, poly meaning many, ticks meaning blood-sucking insects, many blood-sucking insects, that politics and politicians have been synonymous with thievery and liars and untrustworthiness and scumbaggery and all of that, even dating all the way back to Roman times and before. I mean, nothing new under the sun, right? It's not like you guys didn't know this. It's not like people were like, oh my God, I thought politician was synonymous with bunnies and kitties and rainbows and warm, happy feelings. No, no. It's, I mean, I'm calling the sky blue here. But the point is, there's all sorts of things that people know about the world. It's this not so common sense that everybody likes to try to ignore. But if you really investigate in your heart of hearts and really come clean with yourself, yeah, you know all this stuff. Because stupid is knowing better, but doing shit anyway, or not doing stuff that you need to do. And therefore, humanity kind of has this chronic case of stupidity in that regard. And because people look at things like the political system and the legal system and the medical system and all these systems. They act like the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus put this magical protection over it that states, oh, no, these things couldn't get corrupted because, if anybody tried to corrupt them, well, people would be just going to jail left and right because there's these words on paper called law, and, they erect magical force fields over gun-free zones that prevent criminals from, oops, oh shit, YouTube shooting, that was a gun-free zone. Oh, well, so much for that theory. Anyway, I mean, most people, in their heart of hearts, they know nonsense when they see it. They know nonsense when they hear it. But the thing is, it's just, people feel so stressed and so weighed down and so hopeless and helpless in their lives that they're thinking, no. I don't need any more emotional or psychological pain. I don't need to think about all the children getting abused, and I don't need to think about all the corruption in the governmental system. No. Just let me stick my head in the sand. Let me pretend everything is always okay. Well, humanity marches straight off a cliff, and as long as I'm comfortable and peaceful before they put my head on the chopping block and poof, then hey, cool, at least I don't have to deal with any uncomfortable emotions. So the truth is, if people weren't so terrified, and if people didn't have like major raging freaking narcissism, which I'm effectively accusing the entire human race as a whole being collectively into Stockholm Syndrome, and believe me, I'm not exempting myself. I'm not perfect. Most of my life I've had my head in the sand too, up until semi-recently, So I'm not sitting here on any arrogant high horse going, oh, look at me, I'm so great and pooty-poo on you. No. We're all freaking guilty. But now that we know we're all freaking guilty, I choose to do my best to not stay silent, because silence is consent, right? So, I speak out about these things. I mean, in all honesty, consequences be damned. Oh my God, saying stuff like this isn't going to make me popular. The liberals are going to get pissed at me and call it hate speech and racism and bigotry and whatever else. Oh, the conservatives are going to get pissed at me and call me an SJW, snowflake, this, that, whatever else, da-di-da-di-da, and everybody in between's going to get pissed at me. I don't care. I really don't. I mean, when you can kind of calm down and like look at the bigger picture, it's like, let's see, the good of the human race or my own personal reputation and popularity. What's more important if we're really going to be an adult about things and prioritize properly? Yeah, I think my own personal reputation can take a back friggin' seat. It's not the most important thing, So, hey, I have really good, awesome friends who are wonderful and supportive of me, and I've got my small little demographic that I have that resonates with this sort of information. So, hey, I'm cool. I'm all good. I don't need a bajillion followers or for everybody to approve of me or whatever. I'm just simply getting up here on my soapbox and putting it on the record that I really personally don't like it that humanity is choosing to just kind of run straight off a flippin' cliff. And I do acknowledge my own partial responsibility for that situation that, up until, I snapped out of it, that, yeah, I contributed to a lot of that. And in many ways, still do, because, like, I don't have like tons of money to be like totally like DIY and self-sustaining and all this and that. I got to work within my means. So guess what that means? I'm still putting, some of my money into the very corporations that are empowering the big nasty brainwashing machine that is leading humanity straight off a cliff. So I still have to admit my own culpability in that if I want to be fair. So I'm not saying I'm innocent, but I am just calling the sky blue and hoping that it does some good. My personal expectations on this videos really are as follows. Most people are either going to be disgusted by it and exit out, or they're going to laugh it off and just think it's crazy, stupid, whatever, just move beyond it. Hell, I might even get a few new subscribers, not because they think my stuff is like, you know, spot on, but because they think I'm such a big, hilarious, crazy joke that, hey, why not subscribe to this crazy loon? He's great for more than just a few laughs. Holy shit. Hey, that's fine too. Whatever y'all want to do, it's all good. I already know that the only thing in this world I can control is myself. That's it. That's all I can control. And by the way, as far as this whole Trump, Syria, Russia situation, just my quick take on it. Of course, other than my usual centrist view of politics being a pool of shit, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Illusion of choice, so on and so forth. I don't think any of these kakistocracy, parasitic ruling class cronies are suicidal. So no, I don't personally believe in the nuclear threat, as it were. I mean, there is nuclear contamination, of course. I mean, we detonated all sorts of crap all over this earth, from Fukushima to Chernobyl to Hiroshima, Nagasaki, all sorts of stuff. So, like, yeah, there's definitely nuclear pollution. But as far as like a full-blown nuclear slugging match between superpowers, nah. I really don't think that they are that suicidal. But there is a possibility for conventional weapons, which are nasty and destructive, obviously. I mean, an ICBM doesn't need to have a nuclear payload. An ICBM carrying a standard payload can level a city and, wreak massive havoc without a problem. Although I don't even think they're necessarily going to go that far, because they depend on a certain level of infrastructure to be able to maintain their luxurious lifestyle. And why would they go ahead and destroy that which is providing continuity for the lifestyle that they enjoy so much? So I don't really think that's likely either. What I personally think this is it's all to gauge public reaction, in my opinion. The powers who assume they be are seeing, they're just kind of like testing humanity. Like, what will they fall for? What will they not? What will they see through? What will they blindly believe? What reactions will they have? What are they willing to do in opposition to this, that, and the other? What are they willing to not do? So it's kind of basically a data collecting mission. And if you look at freaking synchronicity, for those of you who believe in such things, look at how simultaneously you have this whole Facebook Zuckerberg thing going on, right? What is that all about? Unauthorized data collecting, right? That whole thing. Like, they put Zuckerberg in the hot seat, and ooh, all this unauthorized data collecting. Shame on you, Mark Zuckerberg. Dotty 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 dot. Well, coincidence or coincidence means things that are coinciding at the same time, that are linked, but we don't necessarily always see the connection. So if you look at how all this Zuckerberg crap is being focused on, at the exact same time that we're in this 48-hour window for, holy crap, war with Russia or no war with Russia, what exactly is going to happen? We could see the subtle hints that they're putting out to us saying, hey, humanity, not sure if you're noticing this, but we're doing a little data harvesting mission without your consent, and it's grander than you think. We're gauging your reactions. We are watching. We are seeing what you are and aren't willing to do. We are seeing what you think. And then once we have compiled your collective reactions, then we will pick a strategy from there and move you up to the next psychopathic test. Well, though I don't really approve of Trump pulling an Obama, and I do think Trump's an asshole, he is the asshole we need. Here's why I say that. Let's imagine for a moment that Hillary would have gotten elected as president. Good fucking Lord. I know, it's a creepy thought, but let's just imagine it for a moment. Here's what would have happened. If Hillary would have completely thrown us under the bus, it might possibly have united the liberals and the conservatives against the powers that be. But humanity wouldn't have learned anything from it, and mistakes would have continued to repeat. Because then the conservatives would have been able to say, if our boy Trump would have gotten in, none of this would have ever happened. Our boy Trump would have saved everybody. This wouldn't have ever happened. So, seeing as Obama has already proven to not be a savior of jack shit, Trump betraying the conservatives, I think, is a better potential point of unity for conservatives and liberals, because then the lessons can be learned, because then both sides can see, oh, the entire system's a pool of shit, and whoever jumps in gets covered in it. That we need to mature and grow up as a human race and as a nation and take personal responsibility and make America and humanity in the world great again, provided it was ever great to begin with, that's the point, great again ourselves. That we got to put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants and do it ourselves. And that we can't rely on narcissistic, abusive, mommy and daddy, statist, corporate, governmental controlled mind control structures to beat us into complacency and run our lives for us, because that just creates scumbaggery and war and genocide and all this other crazy stuff that we really don't like. So maybe we got to put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants and take personal responsibility and choose to start growing the fuck up as a race. Oh, and speaking of growing the fuck up as a race, if you want to learn how to grow the fuck up, I would like to recommend to you an audiobook that is really awesome. It's under an hour. It's called How to Grow the Fuck Up, A Guide to Humans by Mark Manson. and it is awesome. So, if you were wondering why the vast majority of humans are grown ass children in adult bodies, but are still like mentally and emotionally like fucking three, um, and you want to learn even the slightest inkling of how humanity could potentially, maybe, possibly, don't hold your breath though, liberate itself from this toddler-esque adolescent mental and emotional collective Stockholm syndrome tomfuckery, then feel free to Google search and or YouTube search and or Daily Motion search and or BitChute search and or whatever floats your boat the keywords how to grow the fuck up, a guide to humans by Mark Manson. It is epic. You will not regret the 40 some odd minutes of your valuable time that you will spend listening to that. You might possibly regret everything you've listened to on this video so far, with the exception of my mention of the audiobook, but you will not regret the audiobook itself. I promise. On that note, if everybody, hypothetically, or hell, not even everybody, even just a significant portion, enough of the population, say, oh, I don't know, 10%, if at least that would grow the fuck up and unite instead of bickering about shit about which Christian denomination is the real Christians, well, everyone else is pooty poo, or which new age narcissistic guru is the most highest vibrational, or you know, what Black Friday sales, or blah blah blah, who gives a crap about any of it. If people could kind of, if even a few people could evolve out of that, just enough people to come together and unite and start actually having some unity, and really starting to roll out like cooperation and positive change and all that. Doesn't even have to be on like anything like massive or epic. It doesn't have to be like protests in the street, because it's really not positive change anyway. It does a whole lot of fucking nothing. Even just grassroots, level positive change, just like, oh my god, there are like so many things that could be done, and I don't want to make this longer than it has to be. But yeah, I mean, just start with simple changes, simple positive changes, but do them en masse. Imagine if even 10% of the people in just the United States alone were to start to do that, were to drop all this, oh, I hate white people, I hate black people, I hate my fellow Christians except for my denomination, I hate Muslims, I hate blah, 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 blah. Oh, flat earth and round earth and fuck earth and dick earth and tits earth and fuck you earth, and what in the hell, people, come on, grow the fuck up. And on that note, catch y'all later.